I feel a little conflicted doing this review. I generally don't like top load washers that don't have an agitator, but this washer is kind of an exception. Hey everyone, so the washer in question today is the LG top load washer, model number WT1501CW. This is a pretty entry level top load washer that LG makes, and it's one of their less expensive models. With an MSRP of $799, you could typically find them on sale for around $700. During 4th of July and Black Friday, you might even find them a little bit cheaper. This washer boasts a 4.5 cubic foot stainless steel tub with a really large agitator or agitator. What do you call it? A wash plate? I don't know. I'm calling it an agitator because I like it. Anyhow, this has a nice soap drawer there you could put bleach, fabric softener, and your liquid detergent, but if you are using pods, you should just throw it directly into the tub. When you're shopping around, you may notice that this washer comes with a 10-year warranty, but it does not come with a 10-year warranty. It's only a 10-year warranty on the motor itself. The whole machine does come with the standard factory 1-year parts and labor warranty. I brought this washer back in my test facility and I tested it for quite a while, but honestly, I actually owned this machine for a little bit over 6 months at my house. This is a really good looking washer and dryer set. I really like the sleek design, and I really do appreciate the controls being up front so you don't have to reach over and, mess with the buttons. So you could do everything right from the front and it's pretty easy to get to. I really like the simplicity of it, and it's kind of a compact design for being such a large capacity washer. This washer could fit through a 27-inch door, just barely, but it fits. Underneath the washer, you'll see a sea of plastic, but you will notice that very large direct drive motor. It really does take care of business. To the right, you see the shift actuator. This basically engages or disengages the wash plate. Agitator. I'm calling it an agitator. And then to the bottom left there, you see the drain pump, and that's pretty much it. There's really not much going on underneath the washer. At the top of the washer, all you have is the electronic control board, which is also the power board, and that's pretty much it. And I can really appreciate the simplicity as far as the design goes. When something goes bad, you really kind of have a 50-50 shot of fixing it. You either change the control board or you change, a sensor in the bottom. Going back to the control panel, you see that this washer actually has quite a few options. It has 8 wash programs, including cotton, normal, tub clean, bulky, heavy duty, speed wash, delicate, brightest whites, and your own personal download program. It also has 14 extra options that you can choose. One of them that is notable is the delay wash that you could delay up to 19 hours. Now, I don't know why you'd want to delay your load 19 hours, but that's quite a long time. This washer does boast an 1100 RPM spin speed, but only weighs in at a puny 137 pounds. I ran a variety of loads on this washer and found it to be a pretty capable machine, despite the fact that agitator washers generally don't perform as well as traditional top-load washers that have an agitator. This washer seemed to do well on just about every load except for my queen size comforter, which I think was kind of a fluke. So the story is this, guys. I've actually owned this machine at my house. I had it there for about 6 months, and when I had this washer, it was about the time that both my baby girls were in diapers and we were having baby blowout central. And this washer really took care of business. It was excellent at removing stains. It's a really quiet performing machine. It has decent performance all the way around, and it's not terribly expensive. One also thing to note is that out of thousands and thousands of reviews online, this washer has an average of almost 4.5 out of 5 stars. So that tells you a lot that people really do like this machine. I don't say that I love it, but I think that this is probably the best non-agitator top-load washer that you can buy. Now, I'm basically a working class guy, and I come home relatively dirty every day. My clothes usually have lint ground into them, grease, you name it. I mean, I fix washing machines for a living. My clothes are just pretty gross when I come home. This washer actually does a really fantastic job of cleaning my work pants, which is one of the more difficult things to get clean. As you can see, despite it not having an agitator, it has no trouble rolling over that laundry and getting the pants down to the agitator where they'll get some action. This is using the heavy duty cycle, which is probably the cycle you should use the most often. It also has a 6-motion wash technology, which basically means that it doesn't just swish back and forth for an hour. It'll stop, rotate, shimmy, squeeze. It does all sorts of things, which is pretty clever because it actually does a really good job of getting the clothes circulated in the tub. It's a pretty clever washer. When I had this washer at my house, my wife, she used to do a lot of really small loads. And this washer really does fantastic if you're kind of not a full load type of person. But if you do a full load, this washer will still do pretty well. It's kind of one of those washers that kind of does well no matter what you do to it. It kind of figures everything out for you and does the best thing for what you're putting into the washer. So one thing that's really important about this washer is that if you wash anything, you have to take advantage of the Water Plus feature on the machine. If you don't use the Water Plus feature, it uses the minimal amount of water to get the clothes saturated, and it has a difficult time rolling over the clothes. As you can see in this video, I did pick the Water Plus option, and you see it's using plenty of water, and it does a fantastic job cleaning and a fantastic job rinsing. If you don't pick the Water Plus feature, you're probably going to get mediocre results, and you might not be super happy with this washer. So definitely make sure that you pick the Water Plus feature, even if it does add a little bit of extra time. This is a small load of whites, and as you can see, it's really tossing those clothes around. I was on the verge of throwing my socks away because they were so dirty on the bottom. But yet with this washer, and might I add with no bleach, it got my socks white again. And that was one of the first washers that did such a great job cleaning my socks, to the point to where I saved my socks. I did not throw them away. This cycle I did use the brightest whites option, and it did default to a hot water wash, which is kind of a joke in a way. It's only 90 degrees, but whatever, that's hot in 2018. But anyways, it still did a good job, and that was only one Tide Pod that got all of my whites squeaky clean. Now let's talk about where it didn't do so good. This is my queen size comforter. This is not my queen size comforter. This is just a queen size comforter that I bought off Amazon as my test blanket. So the issue that I had with this washer is that this queen size comforter, first of all, it's like a synthetic down, and it's kind of all fake. So once this blanket gets wet, it tends to float a lot, which is what just happened on this load. As you can see, the agitation is actually quite vigorous, but all it's doing is swishing the water around, so the blanket's not getting turned over very well. I really chalked this up to being a fluke thing because this was not my experience with this washer when I had it at my house. I've washed queen size sheets, I've washed my queen size comforter in this machine, and it did a fantastic job. So this was kind of a fluke. You gotta let this one slide. Basically, if you buy this specific blanket on Amazon, which is mostly all synthetic fibers, you're gonna have this issue where it starts to float. And I think you might be better off actually putting more laundry in than just the queen size comforter to help weigh the blanket down. But I've always been a firm believer that you can't effectively wash a queen size comforter in a top load washer. There's just not enough space for it to roll over. But I digress. One of the most recurring complaints that I have about this washer is that the washer tub is just too deep. If you're under 5'7", you need to make sure that you actually physically get in front of this machine and try and reach the bottom of the tub. Now, I'm about 5'7" on the dot, and I had just enough arm length to reach the bottom of the tub, and I did have to lean completely over the console panel. So That's one of the things that you do have to be careful about this machine, otherwise you just won't be able to reach the bottom. So the bottom line is this: if you're looking for a large capacity top load washer with no agitator, this is the best washer that fits those parameters that's on the market today. Although there are better performing machines out there if you're willing to give up a little bit of capacity. One of my favorite top load washers out there is the new Maytag commercial, model number MVWP575GW. It only has a 3.5 cubic foot tub, but it will do a load of laundry in 30 minutes flat. And it's the closest thing to an old school washer that I've ever seen. But ultimately, you pick what's right for you. I'm just a guy who likes clean laundry. Thanks for watching, guys, and if you haven't liked or subscribed already, please do so.